Hello and welcome to TXM TV. I'm Anthony Clyne and today I'm joined by Rob Chittenden. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, good, Anthony. Hi, how are we going? Hi, everyone.
Fantastic, and thank you for joining us again today, Rob. And the topics that we'll be talking about, they supplement each other because lean is about identifying waste and improving processes, but it's also getting the most out of your people. And the first topic is the concept of what is modern lean, and in the context of giving the sensitivity of giving feedback to a peer or a person you work with. No matter what the relationship, the conversation requires sensitivity. And we talk about a new normal, but situational behaviour is the new normal. So normal is a term that in the purest of statistical senses describe how a range of people behave differently. And it gives expectation of how many people behave in the average or in the middle of the normal range. But there's a symmetry about the tapering off of people that behave at this end of the distribution and at the other end as well. And so collectively, that is the new normal. And so the new normal is not average. And in our English vocabulary, in the modern terms, people use the word normal to really describe average. But normal is a range of behaviours or a range of ways of working. And so what we see is a certain behaviour is required in different situations. And currently what I'm seeing is the gold standard for giving feedback, having conversations that really connect with people is transitioning from a set methods to a range of styles to suit the situation. So previously, we might have had set ways of talking. We would have certain formulas, certain standard script-like conversations, and we would play them to the situation. But now our situations need greater awareness. Our emotional intelligence needs to connect with the person and establish a very specific rapport and have a very specific conversation with those people. So firstly, rapport, it's described by lean pioneers as simply showing respect. And the modern definition of rapport results in managers speaking in a very calm, soft, slow tempo voice. That's what I see. And these managers are the ones that are connecting with the most people. They are attaining the greatest level of respect just with the broadest amount of people. And what they're doing is they're doing this in a way where they focus on the person. And it's only when they establish rapport with the person do they then proceed to topic. And they have this ability to purely focus on the person. So they don't have a constant focus on, I must get to the topic, I'm rushing to the topic, don't forget the topic, but they're able to really listen and play out the conversation with respect. And if the rapport is not established or it's not the right time for the conversation, they don't have it and they wait. And they wait for a time that is right. And that is the new normal. It has a range of establishing rapport, and you don't always have to do that. It's just what I see. But you can develop different situations to suit your own personality, your own styles, and you can pick and choose which style of leadership you're going to use in which situation. And at that point, it's really around making improvements. And those improvements could be a coaching improvement or a process improvement. And Rob, waste is the object of lean thinking, is to eliminate waste. We often hide waste with the same pride as we hide bad process. What is the right mix?
Yeah, good answer now. Good question to ask, Anthony, is how do we find that right mix? And I was just listening to you talk there about leadership, and it's just a book I happen to have out here today about trying to find that credible leadership point. And there's quite a few marked pages in this book where you often do have to rely on timing and getting your message right at the right time for that person to understand. So some very good words in that, Anthony. So yeah, it's something that we've always got to pay attention to. But what I'd like to talk about is that waste and how we hide it. So often in business, we have wastes and we've got to deal with those wastes. So following on from the 8 wastes that we had last week, and you would remember the Tim Woods acronym, is that we often find wastes. And I often find myself when I'm on site that I'm always looking in the dumpster bin out the back to have a look at just the amount of the physical waste that is sometimes generated in a process. And often that dumpster bin will be way out the back of the building, hidden away. And you'll see lots of ugly and unsightly things out there because we hide that waste away. And it doesn't feel good when we look at that waste. We go, gee, what a waste of that. Or look at that pile of pallets that have to be disposed of. Or look at all that plastic now. But when we look at that waste, yeah, and all of it that's there, is there value in that waste? Where did that waste come from? Was it created from a bad process or bad behaviour? Or was it created in a rush? But often it's not just the physical waste in the business that we look at. Often processes that create the value have lots of waste in them as well. And over many of the projects that I've worked with at TXM, I see in general terms that usually 40 to 50% of the waste can be removed from a process. And this can provide a very good starting point for return on investment. And it also makes the business more competitive if we work on removing those wastes. And when we start working on projects that look at waste, it is often when we have it right in front of us, we can't clean that up or fix that process overnight because we can't control what's already been created. And if we just launch off to pick up all that waste or trim that process quickly, we may be creating another form of waste and resources are wasted. So I find if we started focusing on the practices and the structures that created the waste in the first place, so take a step back a little bit, try and understand why are we here today, to understand the structure that might be stifling the correct behaviours or not allowing the best process. So what does all this mean? Waste is inevitable, and a lot of lean, we're trying to say, let's eliminate it, but there is some waste that's always going to be created. So when we just focus on efficiency, just get the output, sometimes that can lead to us hiding our wastes and we'll find them out the back of the factory or a process is broken. So often we might be focusing on that efficiency of delivery, get it out the door, but then what did you do with all those offcuts? Oh, but I got the job done, it's all done, but now we've got all these offcuts to deal with. And we might have to hire a container to put the offcuts in and we'll use them on another day. So we can create a lot of waste really quickly. So what I'm trying to say is that we should be trying to deliver on both on the value and of the waste efficiently. Let's create simple processes that are cheaper, better, faster, and with the least amount of waste made. So when looking at wastes, I find a good starting point is to ask those simple questions, where did the waste come from? Why is the waste here? And do we need it? And if we look at those 3 questions, you may be able to then start some good projects to eliminate some of those over time. So go get out there and start looking at your wastes. There you go, Anthony.
Thank you, Rob. And it's learning to see, but then learning to choose to see is the challenge.
Yeah, going and seeing it is a really good point. I like, to go look at it because it is overwhelming sometimes, but going and looking at it identifies that because there is some value in there by reducing it.
Yeah, and often people are defensive because there's a lot of pride that goes into what we're now being told is waste, and there's a lot of personal ownership of that process and optimization, and so the rapport in that conversation is critical to position that person for a way of having a conversation that might end up acknowledging that all of this work that they've been doing for all those years is not adding value to the customer and there's a better way of doing it.
Yeah, doing both. Let's deliver the process, deliver the value part of the process, and also let's look at what we're doing on the waste side of it as well. Are we delivering the goals and targets in that area?
That's right. Well, thank you, Rob, for sharing the conversation, and thank you for participating and watching this live production. Remember to comment on our LinkedIn page and email us at txmtv@txm.com. I'm Anthony Clyne, and we hope you join us again for the next episode. Thank you.